Number 7 Ministries. The Spirit of the Lord is on me because He has anointed me to preach good news.
Hello, welcome to Number 7 Ministries Christian Outreach. Today's short sermonette is called Battles Won Without a Fight. You know, as we walk with God, there is no doubt that we're going to go through battles. Not every battle that we go through has to be catastrophic or horrifying or terrifying. You know, there are simple, small battles such as waking up with a headache, you know, waking up drained, your husband or your wife is fighting or arguing with you, your children aren't doing the right thing, your boss is giving you a hard time, you feel stress, pressure, your car broke down, your body ain't acting right, you got a cavity, you need a root canal. You know, all those things are battles that we go through on a more regular basis. And so those are the battles too that we also need to bring before the Lord. Everything that we go through, God is concerned about it. Don't ever feel like if you have a headache, God doesn't care about your headache because you're not in the hospital and you're not dying of cancer. No, God is concerned about the person in the hospital dying of cancer, but He's also concerned about your headache. If your feet are hurting, God's concerned about all of those things. Even the hairs on our head, except for me, but the hairs on our head are numbered because God is concerned about everything, even the small aspects of our life. You know, there was a time where I had a headache and I was getting ready to go to church and I prayed. I said, God, please take this headache away. It was one of those headaches where you could feel your vein on the side of your head pulsating. And you'd have to press the vein to try to get it to stop. That's how bad it was. And I remember praying, I said, God, please take this headache away so that when I go into your house, I can praise you even more. So when I sit down on the pew, I can listen more to the message that's being preached. And don't you know, as I prayed and I considered God in the small thing, by the time I got to the house of God, the headache went away. And when I started praising God in church, I forgot that I even had a headache in the first place. Don't you know God can take care of your battle so great to the point that you don't even remember you had it in the first place? Don't be caught up in your situation. Be caught up in the solution to your situation. It's always going to be God. In 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 47, and all this assembly shall know that the Lord saves not with the sword and with the spear, for the battle is the Lord's. He will give you into our hands. And here this is King David speaking great words of faith against Goliath. Against all odds, he was confident that God was going to give him victory over Goliath. He didn't care about how great he looked. He didn't care about how heavy his sword was. He didn't care about how heavy his spear was. He didn't care if this man was brought up, raised as a warrior, and David was raised taking care of sheep. He didn't care about none of that. Why? Because he wasn't focused on the natural. He was focused on the supernatural, which is remembering all the times in the past where God has gave him past victories over great battles and great situations. And he remembered that as he got victory over those battles, it wasn't his might. It wasn't his strength. He remembered that it was a supernatural victory. And don't you know that as you try to fight your battle in the natural, you're going to lose in the spiritual. And as you stop fighting in the natural, you're going to start to win the battle in the spiritual. In 2 Chronicles chapter 32 verse 20, King Hezekiah, the prophet Isaiah, and the son of Amos cried out in prayer to heaven about this. And the Lord sent an angel who annihilated all the fighting men and the leading officers in the camp of the Assyrian king. So he withdrew his own land in disgrace. He withdrew to his own land in disgrace. And when he went to the temple of his gods, some of his sons cut him down with the sword. In 2 Kings chapter 19 verse 35, and that night the angel of the Lord went out and put to death 185,000 men in the Syrian camp, and when the people got up in the next morning, there were all dead bodies. 185,000 enemies, 185,000 problems that the people of God were facing, and when they went to sleep, all their problems were gone. Well, I want to encourage you, brothers and sisters, go to sleep. Bring your situation to the Lord in prayer and trust that when you wake up, God is going to take care of the problems that you can't take care of. He might not do it in your time. He might not do it the way you want him to do it, but believe me, he's going to do it. Even the Israelites who were running away from the Egyptians, even when they were complaining, even when they were grumbling, even when they didn't have faith in God, God still delivered them all. From Moses, who had faith, to the grumbling Jews who didn't have faith, God still delivered them. Why? Because we have a covenant with God. God is going to trouble himself to give us victory over our enemies, and it's going to be done without a fight.